On channel 2 you have the interpretation in France, and in channel 5 you can hear the interpretation in Russian. So you are able to follow. But the purpose for the Georgian opposition to come here is that the EGG group invited them here, and we will have a hearing later this evening, so we can hear both sides of what's going on in Georgia. But I think I let them introduce themselves, because I think the only thing that was right here was my name, and it's even misspelled. But anyway, they will introduce themselves, from what party or what NGO they're from, and we take it from there. So thank you for coming. Okay.
Thank you very much. First of all, I will present ourselves. We are Georgian Opposition Coalition National Council of Georgia. It consists of 3 parties. Party of People, who is headed by Mr. Kukavas, Free Georgian Party, I'm chairman of this party, and also Conservative Party of Georgia. Our coalition was created in 2007, just after the crisis of November the 7th, when peaceful manifestation was raided by Georgian special forces. And our coalition was the biggest coalition in presidential and parliamentary elections of 2008. Our presidential candidate, Mr. Kachichiladze, came the second in the presidential elections, and also our coalition was the second in parliamentary elections of 2008. After parliamentary elections, we boycotted the results of parliament, and right now we are considered as non-parliamentary opposition. And after that election, the coalition was split. In last local elections of 2008, our coalition was the fourth, with 8% in Tbilisi. Right now, it's very important to attend, to be at Council of Europe. It's very important for us to deliver directly information about the situation in Georgia to the members of PASE, because in the West we often face information proposed by Mr. Saakashvili and his propagandistic system about Georgia and about Georgian domestic policy, which is not always impartial and objective. Mainly, the propagandistic views of Mr. Saakashvili is based on 2 main principles. First, that he always speaks about democratic reforms in Georgia when he is outside of the country, and the main principle is that he calls all opposition parties of Georgia Russian spies, and all protests in Georgia he calls as Russian-inspired. So the logic is very simple: if opposition is pro-Russian, it means that himself he is pro-Western. Unfortunately, this logic sometimes works. That's why we want to deliver direct and very concrete facts to the members of PASE about political prisoners in Georgia, about attacks on political opponents, about new constitution which were adopted last year and which allows Mr. Saakashvili after his second term to continue to stay in power, about elections which were falsified during these 3 years, about refugee rights which right now are being evicted from Tbilisi, and about freedom of speech. We will ask factions and committees of Council of Europe to create special group of reporters, as it was about some other member nations of Council of Europe, and let this group of reporters will study individual cases of political prisoners as well as state of freedom of speech in Georgia. We think that this will help Georgian democracy, and this will help Georgian nation really to move towards democracy. I will not add a long speech. If there is some questions about concrete facts, maybe about political prisoners you are interested in, maybe about constitutional elections, I will answer those questions.